Welcome into this week of Missouri Pilot, the TWMP Daily. What am I talking about? We were supposed to have Rusty Black. I don't even have my stein of knowledge. I've set it down somewhere. The wheels are coming off, and we're gonna talk a little politics today. Rusty Black is doing appropriations. He's doing something like spending the state's money, or I don't know actually. So we're gonna hang out for about a half hour. Jake, Kelton, where is Jake even at?
Jake's in the house currently.
We'll have him get out of the house and come to work.
Well, you tell him that.
Jake is in the Missouri House of Representatives, I think, right, Kelton?
Yes, he's in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, he's doing something. Who knows? You never can keep up with that guy. So we're gonna talk a little politics. Let's start. You could shoot me any question you want. It comes right to my phone, 573-429-5770. I'm gonna bust into my Twitter, my DMs. How about that? Kelton, is that what the kids call them, DMs?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, so got a post from Curtis Gregory, one of the dirtiest pitches in Major League Baseball history. He's got a joke about Somali pirates in here. My man Brandon Wilkinson, love him, sent me some nice stuff. Rachel Clark, I see you. I see your DMs. I am a little busy till the end of session, then I will read these, I promise. Here we go. What's going to happen on the abortion bill? Well, I think it may be up right now. Let's go to our trusty computer here. Also, by the way, if you have any predictions on the legislative softball tournament, it's tonight. I have a big announcement that we'll have later about a team for next year. Kelton, I think this team's going to be outstanding, don't you?
Oh, yeah, they're going to hit it out of the park.
Missouri, listen to me. After the softball game tonight, don't go put a bunch of money on whatever for next year on a team you think looks good tonight. We're about to totally change the whole landscape of legislative softball. It's going to be outstanding. We have maybe a collaboration with Jake and Cindy Laughlin coming up. It's going to be out. I think you're going to really like it. Just don't put your bets now. The House usually does guns and abortions bills. Now they're doing these extra budget bills. The House kind of does a budget, then they have some other bills. They don't count as part of the budget. It's a different world over there. But I think right now, I believe the Senate, let me double check here if they're adjourned. The Senate is actually going in and writing a budget now. We'll see. I mean, the truth is a lot of this boilerplate stuff. Another question, all right, does the Senate always write the budget? No, last year the House wrote the budget, and they ended up having to do the largest supplemental in state history. The House makes political statements with these things. That you have to keep in mind. If you're in the Senate, anything you say is a big deal, and everybody cares, and people jump up. When you're in the House, it's very tough to get some of that attention. On the budget, you really do get a lot. You do have a big role. They kind of lead the process in the budget after the governor sends him theirs. So I don't know. I mean, they try to they do things like they want to have the smallest budget or whatever. But if you combine the supplemental they have to pass later, it's really not. So some of this stuff is a little gimmicky. The Senate is less gimmicky, but there's a reason for that. If you're watching this, you would do more gimmicks too if nobody paid a lot of attention to what you do. You would do less gimmicks if you got more attention. Usually, if you look at the people that are always on Facebook, the fringe people yell the loudest to try to get recognized because they don't get a lot of attention. And the same thing kind of applies here. We'll see what happens. You'll notice Rusty Black is not here. He's actually in that appropriations committee writing the budget. You're supposed to be here today. Look, I'm not going to say people from the Great Northwest are late for stuff, Kelton. I am just going to say we did change it, and then he can't be here. He's got this appropriations committee work to do. I think we may have him tomorrow. We'll let you all know. His very, very good chief of staff, Matthew Chwenka, is supposed to be texting me a time we'll have him tomorrow. So we'll be back here tomorrow with This Week of Missouri Politics Midweek Update. Kelton, why didn't we do a flat Rusty? I mean, I'm just being honest with you.
No one's given us a flat Rusty yet.
Well, no one gave us a flat Dane Deal either.
Oh, that's true. I made that myself.
You know, should we just bring Dane in and interview him?
I mean, if you can get him to come, yeah.
Well, he's taped to your wall. I mean, people that watch the Kelton Camp should be able to see him, correct?
Here, I'll put him on real quick.
Yeah,
there he is.
Dane, would you have time to interrupt your very important guns and abortion work in the House to come in and be interviewed?
Well, Scott, I don't know. I'm very busy with guns and abortion bills.
I think we did that. It was funny the first few times. Also, what we have, the new mayor of St. Louis is being inaugurated. I'll just tell you, I'm not a Tashara hater. I know like most of you watching are for some reason or another, and I respect that. I don't follow St. Louis stuff all that closely. I think Kara Spencer is a welcome new like reset. I think, to me, Kara Spencer represents more than just one term. It represents the St. Louis people wanting to go a different direction, a more maybe practical direction. I think that's good for St. Louis and good for the state. But I'm not going to be the guy that now all of a sudden hates Tashara. I'm not that guy. I know Kara Spencer not super well. We've got some folks. I think Kelly may take this show on the road this summer and go over to St. Louis City Hall. You can go.
Yeah, I'll tag along.
Sweet. We'll interview the new mayor. I love St. Louis City Hall. Is the coolest government building in this state. I absolutely love it. The history, the architecture, to me, it is just one of the absolute coolest places, the coolest government spaces in this state. And good luck to her. I mean, what an awesome honor to be elected mayor of St. Louis. I wish her the absolute best. And look, I think, this is my 2 hours away observation of that situation. The folks, and it was deeper than just the mayor is a lightning rod. Tashara Jones is a lightning rod, always has been. She always gets tons of attention, tons of eyeballs. Combining those two, I think the mayor's race is its own thing. I think you saw the real appetite for change exhibited in, one, the margin of victory for Kara Spencer. It was an impressive margin of victory. And two, Donna Behringer's victory over Darlene Green. Darlene Green had been there 30 years. I don't think a lot of people, it's like the lieutenant governor. Nobody knows what it does. And the comptroller has some real responsibilities. I don't think that many people knew what it was. It's not a real sexy title. I don't think that many, she'd been there so long, I don't think people really were up to date on her. I think it was just, you want something different, you want to stay the same, and they chose something different. I think that is a sea change, and I think that sea change is reflected in a lot of ways. And also, I'm just going to tell you, one of the people I respect the most in this world in politics, and I know he's a Democrat, but if you just want somebody with like legit judgment that wins, you want Jeff Rainford. He's kind of got that Kehoe swagger about him. I mean, when Mike Kehoe comes in a room, he's just a winner. You can like him, you can not like him. That's up to you. But he's a winner. He wins. When Mike Kehoe engages in stuff, his track record for winning is very high. Jeff Rainford is a winner. And I think if you want to chart back just some of the practical reasons for the Kara Spencer victory, you had guys like Rainford who probably would have been fine being friends with Tashara if she would have kind of been a better friend to him. Now, maybe you're like, oh, developers, and I'm not here to talk the politics of it. I'm saying practically speaking, just without any of the ideological stuff, I think Tashara Jones, there were some folks that I think would have been just fine with her being mayor for 15 years if they would have maintained a decent relationship. And when they couldn't do that, I think it led them into find a new camp. And then I think Jeff Rainford's indicative of that. I don't think Jeff Rainford woke up angry that Tashara, would he prefer Lyda? Probably. But I don't think he started off 4 years ago thinking, I'm going to get her. I think he started off saying, I'm going to represent my clients and work with her because she's the mayor. I think throughout those 4 years, guys like him were a little bit disaffected. And I think that came to bear in this election. And I'll tell you, if you're Kara Spencer, you want to keep that guy close to you. When you win these jobs, especially a job like mayor of St. Louis with all the pomp and circumstance, what a wonderful job, right? One of the most recognizable public figures in the state of Missouri. Everybody now loves you. Everybody wants their time with you. They want to give you money to your campaign. They want to take it in and all this stuff. I think you'll be able to tell whether she's successful or not by how close she keeps some of the folks like Jeff Rainford, not in her office all day, but how close she reaches out and gets his counsel. Because it's one of those things, there's a few people in this state like that you want, their advice is very, very good and welcome. Like if you're the governor of Missouri, you want Roy Blunt's advice. You want his counsel. He is wiser about things that anybody that you'd have to live his life to know, and few people have. So I guess my thought would be, I think you'll be able to chart the success of her administration by how close she's able to maintain relationships with guys like Jeff Rainford. I just think he's, it can be a lightning rod himself, I suppose. I mean, I don't know all the St. Louis politics. I just think you need a few folks like him to, even if you don't take his advice, to hear him out. I think your ultimate decision is better with some folks like that involved. We'll see. St. Louis has a little bit of money. They're not broke. St. Louis, Mike Keogh said this. It's like the stock market. If you were smart last week, you bought stocks, right? You buy low, you sell high. You could buy low on St. Louis right now. St. Louis had a run of incredibly bad luck, right? And that bad luck is we'll see if it can turn around. Tashara Jones did not inherit a robust, wonderful city with no crime. That's not real. Lyda Krewson didn't inherit that. Francis Slay sure didn't inherit that. The greatest mayor of our lifetimes, of any city, in my opinion, was Francis Slay. But I think we'll see. We'll see. I do think there is a bottoming out. And I think, I think there's some simple things you could do. Not simple. There's some things you could do that'll be very tough to do, actually, that would change the impression of St. Louis. Every city is defined by its downtown. It just is. Usually you have a couple commercial corridors. In some cities you have a couple neighborhoods, but you're talking about the actual city of St. Louis footprint. Yes, the Central West End is interesting and neat and got a lot of culture and cool things. Tower Grove is a great kind of eclectic neighborhood that's got its own thing. Soulard, one of my favorite places. It's got its own, I would just say, binge drinking culture that, of course, I'm a fan of. I just left my site of knowledge somewhere else. So if this broadcast seems particularly ill-informed, it's because I left my site of knowledge in the other room. But the downtown is how you're going to define St. Louis. The Busch Stadium, the Arch, those are the things that are going to define the city of St. Louis. And I truly think, I mean, I know that's harder than for me to just say this, but I think if you have a police department who's told, okay, downtown is a fortress, you just mark off the streets and say nothing's going to happen in this area, and if you get arrested here, we're going to prosecute you. There's going to be a problem. I feel like you could make that work. Now, again, that is easier said than done. I just feel like you could start off saying, okay, from Washington Avenue to the brewery, from, let's say the soccer stadium to the river. That's our box. And word would get around to people that break into cars and shoot people. Oh, wow, this other dude, he broke into a car and they're actually keeping him on bond. He's actually getting prosecuted? No way. I think word would spread. Now, I don't know that you solve crime as much as you move crime, but I think you could move crime out of there. And I think if you did that, it would be an injection of life and energy into that city, and that would be there is nothing better. I mean, Mike Keogh's right. There is nothing better you could do for the state of Missouri, whether you live in Pineville, Tarkio, Sedalia, or Wardsville. Nothing better you could do for everyone in that community than to fix some of the crime in the city of St. Louis. Change that impression. Make people want to buy some of these vacant buildings. Make people want to invest. They're not going to invest if you have a retail store downtown and your customers can't get out of their car without getting robbed. You're not going to have a store. I mean, some of this stuff. I really think if you look back, a critique I heard of Mayor Jones that I thought was a fair critique was St. Louis City had 20 major problems, significant, huge problems, and she tried to take them all on at once. An admirable goal. I think the citizens felt like she didn't make enough progress on some of those, right? So I think, the lesson that a Kara Spencer might learn is pick a couple, 3 problems and make good traction on solving those. Then I think it might give you momentum to take on the next 2 or 3 and the next 2 or 3. And before you know it, you'll have, 4 years from now, you'll have a record of accomplishment. And look, I think Mayor Jones has a record of accomplishment in her own right. I just think, obviously, from the results of this election, the citizens didn't share her vision, and they wanted to give another person a chance. Wendell Bailey used to tell me, Kelton, it's a great story. When he said, when I was young, I was running for state representative or whatever it was. And he goes, my slogan was, give a young man a chance. And now I stand before you, 81 years old. I think he's running for lieutenant governor. And I'll tell you, experience counts. So it's all in the eye of the beholder. I wish her a lot of luck. I've got like 4 texts about City of St. Louis. That's the best I can do for you. Might have a Sam Alexander sighting. I think might be more there than they had on the campaign trail for the 8th District of Congress. That's hard scrabble reporting by Jake Croson. Good for him. In there working the scoops. The abortion bill. What are they going to do? I'm just going to kind of combine these 3. On the abortion bill, what I think they're going to do. I think what they're going to do is they're going to give some exceptions and put a lot of what they'd call ballot candy on it. And this is the funny part to me. The Democrats will be like, oh, ballot candy's so bad. You mean like when you did it with Clean Missouri? The greatest example of ballot candy in the history of Missouri politics is the Democrat done. It's funny to me. I don't know why people are so afraid. Like the Independent. You're Democrats. You're paid by Democrat interest groups to write Democrat stuff. Nothing wrong with that. But it's a little weird when you act like you're not. Clean Missouri was a Democrat thing. It was. Now, I know they got shoved, but by and large, it's a Democrat thing. Call it what it is. You did the same ballot candy stuff that now you're like, oh, don't do. The people that should put a stop to this is the Supreme Court. By the way, I have a friend giving a speech tonight, so if you have any lawyer jokes, please text them to 573-429-5770 or DM me the lawyer jokes. I'm all in for them. I'm helping a friend write. She's giving a speech tonight, so it'd be nice to, and especially really offensive lawyer jokes, even if they can't be told in a speech that would just make me laugh. Those would also be great. I think they'll do some exceptions. I think they'll do a lot of ballot candy, and if the ballot candy is persuadable enough, and it gets to the ballot that way, I think it could pass. I think if you have some exceptions, it could pass. I think if you have no exceptions, it probably doesn't pass at the ballot. I think the Democrats would let you take a clean bill with no ballot candy, with a no exceptions ban. I don't even think they'd filibuster it much. I think they just let you put it on the ballot because I think they think it would go down. I tend to agree with them. It's the art of. I've seen the abortion movement take their loss, and I've seen signs that they're willing to. They want to win. They want to win. And I think if you give Mike Kehoe the chance on the ballot to pass something, he is a winner. Mike Kehoe wins. He just does. And I think if they can keep him engaged, like Cass Bowen engaged, bring folks like Cinder Coleman, put her out front. Bring folks like Cindy O'Laughlin, put her out front. Maisie Christensen may be looking for a place to be effective. I think she's a very articulate spokeswoman on something. And look, if you're pro-life, whatever it's worth, men will not be the ones that pass this. It will be pro-life women that carry the message. If you have too many pro-life men carrying the message, I personally think it can come off. I've watched this. I also feel this way, so maybe I'm biased. I think it's very easy for a man talking about abortion to come off as though he's preaching down to a woman. I think it's very, very easy to do, very easy trap to fall into. Whereas I think a woman has a lot greater space to make her points without seeming to come off, I guess, in a way of condescension. So I think you have to have women out front leading the way. And if you do, and you have a reasonable thing that I think I've said the folks of Missouri have been like way too far to the right. Oh, wait, now it's way too far to the left. It's like Goldilocks. They want one that's just right, something in the middle. If the Republicans give them that and they put some women out front, I think they have a very good chance of passing it. If they put something that's not reasonable or passable, then no, I don't. I think this will be the status quo will continue. So anyhow, that's my abortion bill thing. I do have a few lawyer jokes here. Kelton, you want some lawyer jokes?
I'm
you don't
all
like
ears.
him, blame Rusty. Or really blame Lincoln for having his committee right after adjournment, not at noon. What's the difference? What do you call a lawyer with an IQ of 100? Your Honor. What do you call a lawyer with an IQ of 50? Senator. What's the difference between an accountant and a lawyer, Kelton?
Oh, I'm not sure.
accountants know that they're boring. Although I do know some fun lawyers, right? I don't know that many fun accountants. Denny Hoskins is legitimately a fun guy. But after that, that's like, he's kind of a politician, really, right? I mean, I know he's a CPA, but he's been in politics now pushing on 20 years. So I think we have to say Denny is an accountant, a CPA slash politician, right? Who is another fun accountant?
He's definitely a CPA second for sure.
I like Chuck Pierce. I think Chuck represented the accountants. I don't know if he was one. Chuck's a good dude. I do like Chuck. Oh, here we go. What's the difference between a lawyer and God? God doesn't think he's a lawyer. Here's another one that just got sent to me. This is a woman saying to her husband, I can't believe you went to a prostitute to have sex. He says, what did you expect? We haven't done anything for months. She says, you could have told me you were willing to pay. Oh, here's one. This is one a turn of a joke I had. Hi, I'm 38 years old. I've been a lawyer for 10 years and I'm honest. I said, hi, I'm 30. I've been a hooker for 10 years and I'm a virgin. I like that. Here's the wildly appropriate joke. Ooh. Can we tell this, Kelton? Okay, yeah. This is a good joke that was just sent to me. Okay. A woman buys a parrot. The prices are $100, $215. She says, why is the one so cheap? Because he used to live in a brothel. The woman, loving a good deal, hands over the $15. When she gets home, the parrot says, F me, a new brothel. They laugh. The daughters get home, the parrot says, F me, 2 new prozzies. The girls laugh. When the dad gets home, the parrot says, F me, Pete, haven't seen you in weeks. That's pretty good. I like that. Thank you for that one. Oh, I got to show this. The Putnam County Midgets. A gift I got. We were supposed to talk about this with Rusty Blackwell tomorrow, but look at this. The Putnam County Midgets. You want to talk political correct. They don't care. You go in there talking that political correct stuff in Putnam County, you get kicked on the shins right by a midget. Or as a midget would call it, a drop kick. Midgets I think are underrated, don't they, Kelton? Oh, here's a question. So I like Brad Ketcher a lot. Brad Ketcher is a lawyer, does a lot of ethics law, a lot of public interest law. He's a really, really good dude and a very smart guy. He kind of made the Nazi joke, which is a little racist, Brad. I'm just going to say, Nazi jokes are a little racist, but for real. And it says that he's complaining because Trump is going to withhold some money from WashU. I don't really understand what he's doing with all that. Do you, Kelton? It's like, if you have DEI, I'm withholding your money. You are the DEI detective of the state of Missouri, Kelton.
I'm not sure what his plan is. It's befuddled me.
Well, I think he's withholding money if you do a bunch of this liberal crap, right?
That sounds like Trump.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue with the general basis of it, but some of these universities like to smell their own farts. They're like, oh, we're above all this, but still give us our money. And Trump's like, nah. So, Brad brings up the point that people should push back and demand that Trump send WashU their research money. And I think, look, here's the truth. WashU does a lot of amazing research. It is a huge benefit to this state. The hospital, I don't know exactly where BJC starts and WashU ends. I don't know all the details of that. But I know they have a very good relationship with BJC, one of the foremost hospitals in the state, although their association makes some bizarre hiring decisions. I mean, good Lord. And we may get into that tomorrow. That's what we might do. So I brought up, he's saying, well, you should think ahead a few steps, and he tagged Kehoe, and he tagged Denny and myself. He tagged the Democrats, all their news outlets. And then I asked, when in the history of mankind has anyone, literally anyone at WashU, ever gave a damn about any Missourian outside 270? Which is a fair question, Kelton, wouldn't you say?
I think that's absolutely fair to ask.
And then Brad came back, because Brad's very intelligent with a good point. They are curing cancer there every day, which there is a total truth. He's totally right about that. You're, Brad, spot on. How many times have Butler Cat told you they're going to St. Louis for an important appointment? And that was WashU. I've heard those words hundreds of times. Totally right. I know some people that have been very sick the hospital in Pine Bluff couldn't treat them. They went to St. Louis, and they were healed. You're spot on about that. Totally agree with you. And then I brought up that's fair because it was a fair point, and I agree with Brad's point. Brad's a very smart dude. I also think it's fair that the uppity, arrogant nature of WashU leaves them isolated. An elitist idolization that 90% of the time they love. And I will point out another dude I associate with WashU, and Jeff Smith said once, it's hard to make friends when you need friends. That was Jeff Smith, the former senator. WashU is very arrogant. They do cure cancer. They do perform a wonderful service. They are also some of the most insufferably arrogant people you've ever met in your life. They love the fact that they're separated from the rest of us in the state. And it's not this and this. To them, it's this and us down here. They are wildly arrogant. Look down their nose in every conceivable way. Fortunately, they have a very good lobbying team that kind of translates regular person to these people. I would be more critical, except their lobbying team does a very good job making the case that Brad's making here of all the good they do, which, if you're a fair-minded person, it's undeniable these people are just almost insufferably arrogant and that they do amazing things. So both are true at the same time. And then he says self-interest should inform policymakers that it's a big employer and it's bad policy, which Brad is right. And then I decided to go smart-ass and say, well, I'm a simple hillbilly, but this is true, Kelton. Prove me wrong. St. Louisans wouldn't need as many hospitals if they stopped shooting each other. Now, that's just math, Kelton. Am I wrong?
That's a fair point.
I mean, Brad, but no, I do agree. I think that, we're going to have to start embracing St. Louis more. If you really support Mike Keogh, you're going to have to start embracing St. Louis. WashU performs an amazing service and it does it in the state of Missouri. I'm not sure it's always for the state of Missouri, but does it in the state of Missouri. They do it quite arrogantly and kind of hard to be around. And if you want to come on the show, you're more than welcome. I will not be taking the show. We're going to take the show on the road to some colleges this fall. One will not be WashU. No way. I'd go to Harris Stowe if I went to WashU. That's just the truth. But if you want to come to Jeff City, you want to come down to Cole County, you want to come visit us, we'll put you right through the chair. And I personally, it's just a scoreboard. They do a lot of amazing things, but they do it arrogantly. So I guess I had a person that say, what about the Palestinian protests? Kudos to them. But, Kelton, I don't know if we can say the reason why they might have been a little more aggressive about the Palestinian protests than they are, say, anything else. Can you think of a reason, Kelton?
Not off the top of my head.
Can you think of a reason you're willing to say on the air?
Definitely not on the air.
Yeah, me neither. But I do think there could, as Brad makes great points here, I think Brad would take the point, and to my man Jerry Dunn, shout out to Kruger's, my favorite bars in all of St. Louis. I do think we might be able to, a task force could come up with maybe a potential list of reasons, well, we just get to one probably, of why WashU might have been a skosh more aggressive about the Palestinian protesters than they are, say, well, any other protesting. Okay. Let's go on. Whispering Gallery today, big doings. Crystal Quaid coming out with something. We already get, hey, can you reach out to Crystal and get her on the show? Let's talk about this new thing she's doing.
I'll get right on it.
SB 22 goes to the governor. We'll see if it blocks in these judges from changing these ballot measures. The truth is, I actually really hope they do something to repeal and replace Amendment 3, because I think the bigger issue here is these ballot measures. We have a very flawed system, and it needs to change. And I honestly, if you talk privately to Democrats, except the ones that are making a lot of money on it, if you talk Republicans, the IP system is not a very good one for the state of Missouri. It serves some interests that, Kelton has a lawyer joke. Let's go to the Kelton cam.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What's the difference between a sperm and a lawyer?
I know this one.
Oh, you do?
A sperm has like a 1 in a million chance of becoming an actual human.
A sperm has a 1 in 300 million chance of becoming a human being.
I like that. I hope she's listening. Note that. He had an action. I mean, this is one of the best whisper. If you don't subscribe to the Whispering Gallery, text me 429-5770. I'll get you taken care of. But Jake had a great. Wesley Bell comes out $500,000 on hand, and that's in his candidate committee. Great week for him. This is a cool story. We went longer than 30 minutes, haven't we, Kelton? Damn it.
I'll have to check the clock.
The state versus Christian Chenett. Christian Chenett was a Democrat LA in the House who, best I can tell, he was arrested because I think a legislator forgot they forgot their phone or their purse or something, and he came in like hot and wanted it, and Tazir's like, hey, dude, I got to validate that you have this or something. Then he came back with some kind of gun or something, right? Like, it got crazy.
Yeah, it got pretty intense. And I think the police report indicated that he called the cops, which did not end well for him.
Yeah, look, Missouri, let me just give you a piece of advice here. 2 things. Listen to your old hillbilly pal. If you're in a fight, swing first. Don't get sucker punched. You do the sucker punching. Don't get sucker punched. And 2, don't call the cops. If you're in a fight, don't call the cops. Never call the cops. That is not going to help you, man. Don't call the cops. If you're in a fight, have the fight. Then the winner should buy the beers after and just move on. Rub some dirt on it. Calling the cops for a fight is a bad idea. Just don't. Kelton, you know in the history of mankind how many times I've called the cops?
It's got to be low.
Yeah, it's about 0. But that's the white trash in me. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. If I heard a window break at 3 a.m., guess who I'm calling? The cops. Just totally right away. But if you're in a fist fight, don't call the cops. It's a bad look. And don't be one of those other jerks who see a fist fight and call the cops. Don't be that person. You're better than that. If you're watching the show, you're better than that. Hannah Kelly running for state senate. Jason Law, big quarter, $500,000. Eigel reported 125,000. Elam just getting started. Mike Elam's kicking off his campaign on Friday night in Cottleville. Don't sleep on Mike. Mike Elam's a great dude. I mean, he's just a great guy. Law, look, I'm telling you, that is a hell of a fundraising haul. What are you going to do? So Hannah Kelly's in. I would say Hardwick is in. Mayhew says he's in. I think he's in. Knight, I don't know if Knight's in. We'll see. Joseph Stillman is running. He's in. So Christian Chenett, end of the day, was charged with harassment in the 1st degree. I don't know what that even is. And assault in the 4th degree. Okay. Some new appointees to the State Board of Education. I'm telling you, when I tell you that Mike Keogh's a winner, he's a winner. He's not out on Facebook throwing all these bombs. If you look at his social media, it's him giving an FHA kid an award or something. He's setting up the DESE board like he needs it. If you're a school choice fan, be patient. It's coming. It's coming because every year the legislature gets weaker and more compliant. And Mike Keogh will do what it takes to win. School choice is an idea whose time has come. If you have enough money for Cornman, then you have too much money. And if DESE still has Cornman on the payroll somewhere in the state, or other people that have been paid hundreds of thousands of tax dollars just to leave schools, only for the cartel to hire them somewhere else, if you have enough money for Cornman, let me move my computer so people see Cornman, you have a terrible system that needs burnt to the ground. And I think Mike Keogh's coming with some diesel and a match. And these appointments, I do not know them. I don't know all of it, but I would be willing to bet you that these 4 people are going to be quite in favor of school choice when the time comes. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Interesting, flipping through here. The Clay County rural spot, that's going to be interesting. Then the big thing, Crystal Quaid has a new organization called Be Heard Missouri. She's going to use it to build an electoral arm that values equity, justice, and democracy. Well, that's cool. Okay, that all sounds not great, but I do love Crystal. She is outstanding. Whatever she does is going to be great. We got to get her on, Kelton. You think we can get her on next week?
I bet we can if
Come
we
talk
ask
about it.
nicely.
That'd be cool. So I guess what? Look, if Crystal took the House Democrat campaign committee from nothing, all it was debt, and turned it into a viable thing that flipped seats. Last time when Trump was on the ballot, what are you going to do? Nobody could have, Harold Cassidy could not have came back from the and defeated and won seats when Trump's on the ballot and Democrats are talking about boys should be playing girls basketball. And, I mean, the national Democrats, I saw Stephen A. Smith. He announced he's thinking about running for president. I don't know that Stephen A. Smith is the person who should be president. I don't really know him that well. Now, Charles Barkley should be president. Kelton, could you get behind an endorsement of Charles Barkley for president?
Absolutely.
He would carry everywhere except San Antonio, them big old women.
I mean, that's not his fault, though.
And churros are good. I've had churros. They are good.
I've never had a churro, but I
You've
agree
never
with
had a churro? The hell's wrong? Kelton, what the hell?
you. Where am I going to get a churro in Missouri?
Taco Bell had them for a while. That's where I had it.
That can't be a real churro.
It said churro. But Charles Barkley, I would prefer him to Stephen A. Smith. But Stephen A. Smith is making. I mean, the dude makes some solid points. He's like, he's very practical and would do very well for the Democrats. Whatever Crystal does, she'll do extremely well. It would look like if she's got this new project, she might not be running in Senate District 30, which would turn the attention to Betsy Faughn. On the Republican side, you've got Melanie Stinnett. You've got Brian Gellner. You heard Barklage. He's a Gellner guy. He says, I've talked to Brian myself. He says he's putting together a fundraising arm. The dude has the connections to raise money. That is a fact. Melanie is a very accomplished politician. The thing about Melanie that's helpful. Gellner was in a tough race against Curtis Trent too. This will help him. But one of the best qualities for Melanie is, one, I do think she's a better general election opponent. Now, how strategic they're going to be in Springfield, I don't know. But that will be a legit dogfight. It's not like Curtis Trent's race where when Curtis won the primary, he was a senator. The Democrats probably had somebody, but I mean, in all reality, that he was going to be the senator. The 30th is not the case. In the 30th, I think you have there's a real chance for the Democrats to pick that seat up. They've came close against Lincoln Huff. I think you might see he's just that good of a candidate in the city of Springfield. His wife just won, or ex-wife, I should say. Ex-wife just won as the school board seat and led the ticket. That last name is obviously highly popular and highly electable in the Springfield area. The Republicans do not have a always claim on that, but we'll see going forward what ends up happening. It's my Crystal would have been a very serious contender. I think she would have been marginally the favorite. Betsy Faughn might start off the same way because I don't think they'll have a primary. The Democrats, I think, will clear that for Crystal or Betsy or Stephanie Hine, whoever. I would say it'll be one of those three pretty safely. I think the three of them will not have a primary, and then whenever they do, the Republicans, it looks like, will. So they'll have to start from scratch. They'll have to buy TV through the PAC, which will be very costly. It'll be tough, but I think, if you're Melanie, you have the real benefit of going through tough campaigns. Her two campaigns have been very, very tough, and I think that benefits you. It sharpens you. You're used to this every 2-year grind of your family having you knocking doors and the babysitter. There's a whole dynamic to running tough races that she'll benefit from. I think it'll be an interesting primary. We need to go down there, Kelton, and just get on the ground and see what's up.
We should send Jake down there.
Oh, yeah, that's great. We'll send Jake. That's also a good point. Although I like the Vandevort. It's pretty cool.
It's a nice little area.
There was this restaurant Watson and I used to go to for lunch. It was really good. It's over kind of by 44 on the north side of Spring. I can't remember. It's a really good restaurant. Lastly, just got an email. Ann Wagner raises over $800,000. Ann Wagner raised over $800,000 in the first quarter. She has $3.6 million in hard dollars on hand. That is just incredible. I saw a thing where the Democrats were going to target her, and I've even talked to somebody in that camp that believes that. I personally do not believe the Democrats will spend money. I think they want Doug Beck. Who wouldn't? If they can't get 3D, I mean, Doug, can I get a commitment right now that Flat Doug is not running for Congress? He's staying here on the midweek update. Thanks, buddy. I love that. Thank you so much. So 3D Doug may run for Congress. Flat Doug's staying here with us in the State House. So is Doug the best candidate? Yes, I think he is. I'll tell you, both parties do this. They tell these people, they make all these promises of money they're going to spend, and then when the time comes, they don't do it. I think that could be the case here. We'll see what happens. with it. But anyhow, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with Rusty Black, maybe, right? Who knows? But maybe Rusty Black, if he's done spending money, he'll be back here with us tomorrow for this week of the TWMP Daily. Kelton, thank you so much. Thank all of you for texting in. Send me your lawyer jokes, especially the dirty ones. That's kind of what we're looking for here. And we'll see you tomorrow here on the TWMP Daily.